I would like to take you just outside of what we think of as normal in schools. Normal in schools is classes, buildings, curricula, textbooks, teachers, grades, secondary, post-secondary, charter, choice, voucher, public, etc. Okay? And I want to take you outside of what's normal in business as well. CEO, HR, command and control, wallet, card with the vision statement on it. And I want to take you outside what's normal in community. A lot of different people who all live on a planet together and haven't yet figured out how to talk to each other about how to do that effectively. We're all very different. Now, I think that in between these spaces, let's see if my mirror works. Yes. There is some new things happening. There are groups of people who are actually building practices that transform these worlds today, and it's all around us. But before I can take you to these places where people are doing these neat things, I need to take you back in time to go to the roots, I think, of where some of these worlds got their habits from. We're going to go back in time to 1864 to the Milwaukee Public Schools and take a look at the rules for the pupils of the Milwaukee Public Schools in 1864. Now, rule number one, I'm sure the students walking in, seeing it posted on the board, they could imagine why it's necessary for us to not have lice and scald head, I'm not even sure what that is, in the school environment. But what's more interesting to me is rule number 7. Rule number 7 says that students may not write, talk, nor whisper to each other during school hours. So no peer communications are allowed at all. Now, how far have we come from that today in our schools? If you have a phone in a school, you're not allowed to use it. You're not allowed to go online. You're not allowed to use the powerful peer knowledge-sharing tools that we've invented today. Business. Business is the same. The boomers who are leading the businesses of today are afraid of what will happen when their employees start to talk to each other openly, when they talk, whisper, and share ideas. What will they do? Will democracy spring up? Will this power hierarchy be destroyed? The best way to stop that from happening is to block these things, and then we'll be safe. So the thing is, right, for us to learn how to transform that, we need to go to actual places. We need to be around other people who are not like us. And the good news is these places are already in America, and they're already all around us. And I'm going to tell you about 3 kinds of places now that I think offer us a chance to transform this way of communicating so that we can learn new ways. The first is co-working. Some of you have probably heard of co-working spaces. As the economy compressed, independent professionals got together and said, you know what, I'm sitting at home not wearing pants trying to start a company. Maybe I should. We'll get together and we'll set up an office environment together, and I'll have a desk where I can sit and work with you, and we can share ideas. As technology got more popular, Hackerspaces started to form. All those geeks who suddenly became fashionable wanted to make friends with all the other geeks. So they got together and built clubhouses where they could experiment with technology, robotics, soldering, software development, app development, all those kinds of things. And then the third type of place, which has been forming over the country, is the Makerspace. Now, this is a place where there are tools and equipment for engineers, artisans, artists, everything from power tools to stages, art supplies to 3D printers that people can use to build and invent new products and new ideas. So these types of places are all over the place. They're building learning communities around the country now. And the thing is, though they're all different, they all have different names, they all have different sizes, they all have different tools, different kinds of people use them. They're all in different parts of the country. But they're united by a common set of values. And this is where the transformation is really happening. The first value is a value of sharing resources. We're going to put a table saw out and say, if you can pass a basic safety test for insurance purposes, we'll let you use it to build things. We're going to put a computer lab out and let you use it. And so what that does is invite people to put their hands on things they might not have touched before, and try to stretch their own creative capacity. Of course, the do-it-yourself ethic is a big thing at these places. One of the rules, as opposed to Rule 7, Rule 2 at one of these places is ask permission later. So just do it, right? Project-based. A lot of schools experimenting with project-based learning, like the rest of the workplace world does it. These folks are working together on projects, planning, doing, and reviewing their creative output together, right? And collaboration is what results from that. A value of collaboration and people practicing it every day. What's really interesting to me, though, is the population of people who are doing this. 3 generations who are working together, right? The teens of today who are desperate for a near future example of themselves that they can look at and go, wow, those people are excited about what they do. They want to put their hands on these tools. They want to share their story online. And they can't learn how to do that in school. Now, the next generation, these 24 to 39-year-olds, are people who just got out of college and lost their tools, lost their community, and they want to keep that stuff. So they go to these places so they can open businesses, so that they can create art, so that they can, you know, wow, work wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to go here so I can make some art after work and feel better about who I am. Holy cow. And then we've got boomers, folks at or near retirement with a lifetime of wisdom and experience to share and the discretionary time to do it. They've also got lots of tools and equipment in their workshops and sheds, just doing nothing. So they bring that stuff down to these places and share it. What happens when you put these 3 generations together is you get these mentoring relationships between them. The teens are showing the boomers how to use Facebook while they're building robots, and the boomers are telling the teens why to use Facebook. And the Gen Xers in the middle are translating all of the acronyms. Now, so what emerges from this is a culture of inclusion. People who are very different, who are different in skin color, who are different in discipline and domain, get together. They create a diverse environment where things are very stimulating. They're very different kinds of people, different kinds of ideas, and build healthy community. These places are all around us, right? And there's a culture of transparency in them. Everybody can see what everybody else is doing. Everybody sees everybody's successes and failures. Now, this is all being broadcast online. If you want to see a healthy use of social media by kids, by generations, and boomers learning how to figure out this stuff, just go on Flickr, DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter. You'll find those stories all over the place. Now, I want to show you some specific examples. Did you know right here in Madison, you have one of these spaces? It's a makerspace, a hackerspace called Sector 67. That's because, yeah. This place was started by a man named Chris Meyer. He's a great guy. Check out the floor plan he set up. There's an open workshop space with tables, sewing machine. You go over in the corner, and there's couches around a table piled with Legos where you can prototype an idea and imagine something. And then right around the corner, there's a 3,000-pound CNC machine where you can actually make that thing you just thought of or print it out of a 3D printer. There's a conference space where community groups have meetings and discussions. There's an electronics lab. There's a business incubator where entrepreneurs can get a desk and get their business going. So you guys have one of these things right here in Madison. I'll show you another example in Milwaukee. In 2002, a group of friends of mine and I started a place called Bucketworks. In our floor plan, we put together kind of an adult Montessori-style workshop environment. Anybody could make anything, right next to an art gallery space. And we invited corporate America to come in and innovate in our gallery space. And they loved it much more than their boardroom, right? We put in a coffee shop. We put in a computer lab right in the front door so community members could get online. We put in a coffee shop right next to the wood shop, right next to the theater and the performance space where groups would put on shows and have meetups and classes and discussions. And so these types of places are all powered by passion. Now, take a look at what that passion is doing in the United States. This is just hackerspaces in the United States. There are so many of these things being opened, and there's no funding, there's no grants, there's just individual people like Chris saying, I think this would be cool, so I'm going to set one up. In fact, take a look at the growth curve. What is causing this to happen? In 2002, there were probably 50 of these places in the world. Now there's over 700, and more are being started all the time. So what could we learn from places where we practice the values of collaboration, transparency, do-it-yourself, and so forth, and we broadcast that out socially? What can these 3 worlds get from these types of places? Well, I'm going to zoom you in on some stats from just one of these places. Okay? 68 new businesses, from high schools to high-tech companies, nonprofits to for-profits, started out of just one of these types of environments. Thousands of pieces of art. Inventions and electronic devices. That 3D printer that you can buy for under $1,000 was invented at one of these places. Plays, performances, and events, furniture and designed objects, hundreds of classes and programs offered freely, usually, to the community. Intergenerational collaboration, something we really need to understand. Project management practices in learning, and healthy use of social media. What I ask you to do is go to Sector 67, spend a day there, and see this stuff in action.